kuafo a omoye adwuma ensuo ya ho ene ye nyina ye didie me amegina ha ikura mado ho a se ensuo no kura no menya bi mfanye de enye nanso ye hwese Galamsey no me se kuroi adwumadi a ye die esanse ye ni adwuma bia eka ensuo ya ho ne ye nyina ye didi nkakra ba akofo so wonde obefa ensuo ya se no na sabi kuruma nyina soso aba ahweti ne asesa enye ne kwaso no
Galamsey nsensem no de ye ka se emfa hawo mre ya na ye toro o hawo de e de bebre papa if se dam ni nese so betu gala wa ha ye bere ne yakọ ne aba ensuo be ne ye benom se tu gala yi ne se dam yi ese ya enfa ne ye ko se ensuo a ye nom ana no enka cha na mo yi no okumase no krom ha ne fire eno ensuo ne bi ne ye de noa eno bi ne ye de hohoro ho eno bi ne ye de don aburo endi se watu gala na odi aduro agumu a ye bere ne aye ye bere ne yakọ okumase ye bere na chese ye didi ye mabunu so adidi eno a ne ye de ye petra ye didu aburo kane bibia nsuo na ne ye de ye enti se gala ne die ye ka se nhayen a na ye to ni tu ne ye tu ohene ne to sa.
I am on the field as the CEO, monitoring the Galamsey issues, monitoring the situation of the water pollution. All my staff in all the regional offices and the area offices must get out there on this same mission to make sure that people are complying to the environmental rules. So we're currently standing below the bridge of Biposo, and we can see the Pra River at the moment. The color, you can clearly see from here that it's contaminated, and this is as a result of the illegal mining people are doing inside the water, right from the eastern region parts of the River Pra. Then the contamination of the polluted water gets to this side. So currently we are here to pick sample of the water. I've received a number of proposals for the EPA so that EPA can clean up these water bodies all in the country where we have the polluted water. This, we have interacted with the community people, and during our engagement, we got to understand that they used to use this river for cooking and other domestic purposes. Today, they are not able to use the river again at all for their domestic purposes. The Environmental Protection Agency is asking, actually pleading with community members, especially where this illegal mining in our water bodies are happening, to let EPA know, and also they have the capacity to actually prevent people from mining illegally in their water bodies. We are also pleading with chiefs and elders that they should stamp on their authorities so that their rivers that people use, the community members use for their domestic purposes, will not be destroyed or polluted the way we are seeing it. The EPA is calling on all community members, especially the areas where illegal mining is happening in their water bodies around them, to stop, or they should use their power as community to stop them, because we know that this illegal mining is not done by the community people, it's done by people, strangers, or people who don't reside in the community.
So that was Professor Brown Kluche, who's the director of the EPA. Earlier on, you heard residents of Amache Barry in Ashanti complaining about the effects of Galamsey on their farmlands and their water and their foods. So, just to be clear, are you the minister in charge of dealing with Galamsey or the lands minister?
Well, it's a multifaceted challenge, and therefore, if you want to find solution to a challenge such as that, you need a multifaceted or multi-pronged, measures. And of course, it is not only the Ministry of Environment that should be responsible. We have several ministries: Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Defense, because it has security implications, Ministry of Local Government, and Chieftaincy Affairs. We all have a duty and a responsibility.
So at least 5 ministries?
Yes. So what we are doing at the Ministry of Environment is we are deepening the stakeholder engagement, because you cannot fight it without engaging everybody. You need to engage, the chief or traditional leaders, and that is why you need MMDCs and also the Ministry of Local Government, which is a mother ministry, to be playing a role. And here's the case: Chief Sansi is added to Ministry of Local Government, and you can have a better ministry that will coordinate the activities of some of this effort if you do not have the minister, charged with the responsibility to do so. We are engaging the Ministry of Defense because the security implications.
Yeah.
Some of the people who are engaged in it are heavily armed. They are armed to the teeth, and you need some force. Interior, the border on domestic security, and that is why the Ministry of Interior is also involved. Of course, the Ministry of Environment plays a lead role. Galamsey is a challenge because the environment is that which is affected, but you cannot do it alone. That is why when we were inaugurating the team to look into this issue, it was done between myself and my senior brother, Honorable Amakofi Bua, to see how best we can galvanize forces together to be able to overcome this. And I think that the media also has a role to play. The media has a huge role to play. So what we are doing currently is broadening and encouraging this, stakeholder consultation. We're also looking at sensitization and education. I saw a video where a gentleman who sold his cocoa farm, and whilst they were cutting the cocoa trees, and he said that he had been a cocoa farmer for several years, and he could not even pay his children's school fees. Now, with the monies he's getting from the Galamseyers who bought his cocoa farm, he cannot pay his. So clearly, that such a person needs some education to appreciate the gravity of the decision to sell the cocoa farm. Because one, you may get the money to pay, but what happens tomorrow? The livelihood of people are affected. The health, consequences of the actions are also affected. To that extent, even Minister of Health and Minister of Agri all have a role to play in this matter. So that is why we are engaging all the stakeholders in our fight against the Galamsey.
So far, what I've seen with Galamsey, if you permit me, almost every serious person is just talking. So January 30, Muhammed says, I'll sanction any minister involved in Galamsey. Same day, Bagwin says, MPs who engage in Galamsey will lose their seats. Next day, I'll soon engage traditional leaders on Galamsey, Amakofi Bua.
Yeah.
Then Ashanti Regional Minister, stop mining water bodies or face action. Then EPA boss, direct regional officers, intensify Galamsey fight. Then there's another one where only 40 out of 800 Galamseyers have been prosecuted. It seems the government is new. Is it fair to say we are just hearing a lot of rhetoric?
No.
It's a lot of talk.
No. In fact, we want to do less talking and much work. And
I've just read about 8 statements.
Yes.
Everybody's saying.
And I can tell you, what we are doing is profound. And there are some of the things I can't put out there. But I can tell you that what we are doing today, I had some engagement with some, institutions and organizations to see how we can stop the Galamsey and at the same time restore the water body. President Muhammad had this Blue Water Initiative and every man per tree. And I said when I was being vetted that I want to take it further, every child per tree. Kids are very competitive, that if you extend it to children in school, that every child is given the opportunity to plant a tree and nurture that tree. Not the kind of planting of trees we observed, which the Ministry of Lands was engaging, where millions of Ghana cedis were sunk into the so-called planting of trees that you can't even find. But see, there is no denying the fact that politicians are engaged in Galamsey. And I'll give you a classical example. I remember Ajia Alima Mahama, then Minister for local government. And this was when she had engagement with MMDCs, and it was on national television. And she said, and I quote, "We know those of you who are engaged in Galamsey, and we shall soon come after you." So it means that she was telling the people of this country that MMDCs were engaged in Galamsey under President Nana Addo, and that they will come after them. They never went after them. It's shocking to note that as of 2022, the state had taken a decision to withdraw security forces who were preventing people from engaging in Galamsey in all the Galamsey areas. 2022, they had withdrawn everybody.
So as we speak, has the state put security at Galamsey places?
That is what we are working on. And I don't want to talk about certain things because it borders on security. What I have told you is that by the will of God, within some few months, the people of this country will see some drastic change.
The Ghana Coalition
as far
against
as our water
Galamsey
bodies and Galamsey are concerned.
The Ghana Coalition against Galamsey petitioned the president to take action regarding allegations of illegal mining by the member of parliament for our win, Oscar Labi.
Yeah.
Are you aware of this, and has the investigation commenced?
Anybody who is engaged in Galamsey activities whether you are a minister or a member of parliament, you wouldn't be spared. And President Muhammad has made it very, very clear. And me, as a minister responsible to lead this fight with other ministers, we are not going to renege on that responsibility. We can't afford to fail President Muhammad. The people of this country gave him the overwhelming, majority and the victory because of some of the promises President Muhammad made. And one of the promises he made was to fight this Galamsey menace. So we cannot afford to fail President Muhammad.
So are you aware an investigation has gone on? Because the petition is in front of me here, where they have made a direct allegation against an NDC MP.
Well, I'm not aware of any investigation, and I may not be aware of any investigation because it borders on security, except that I have some briefing, and I haven't had any briefing. One thing I can say is that whoever is engaged in Galamsey activities, whether you are a minister or a member of parliament, you will not be spared. So it's a simple message to those who are engaged in it that you better watch out. This fight is a fight that will be relentless. This fight is a fight that will be geared towards achieving a result. And our expectation is that by the time we get into the next elections, the people of this country should say, yes, President Muhammad, we voted you to deliver, and indeed you have delivered. And I have no doubt in mind that he will deliver as far as...
You are saying that for security reasons, you cannot tell me whether security forces have been deployed to Galamsey sites.
Yes, I can say that.
Because there are almost weekly reports of Galamsey happening as we speak. You just saw the people from the Ashanti region say that there was Galamsey happening, which was affecting a river that was giving them water. So as you and I are sitting here, people are probably mining.
Bernard, if you want to deploy security and if you want to ensure that it is not just the deploying security alone that you can fight Galamsey, it's a multifaceted approach that we are using. And I don't think you expect me to sit on your program and say, this is what we are doing.
But at least you need to give me an assurance that you are working. So to say you will deal with it, you've been in office for at least a month, have you not?
Bernard, we have been in office for months. President Muhammad has just finished constituting his cabinet. And I'm saying that we are far advanced as far as the fight of Galamsey is concerned. We are not just looking at just deploying security and stopping those who are engaged in it. You stop here and then the next day they move here. That is why I have told you that one, there is intelligence gathering which is far advanced. Two, there is stakeholder engagement. And I've told you that we have had series of engagements and meetings involving traditional authorities, involving politicians, involving MMDCs, involving even youth of those areas. We are far advanced. You see, we don't want to have a knee-jerk response because we have done that in the past and it never yielded any positive results. We want to do things right this time around. And that is why we feel that it is one thing stopping people from engaging Galamsey, but another thing whether the people will come back to start it all around. That is why you need to engage people. That is why you need to put in measures that as you stop people from engaging in it, you begin with steps to restore our water bodies, to reclaim the degraded lands. And that is precisely what we are doing. We don't want to have the experience in the past again, but you need the political will to do that. And President Muhammad has demonstrated that he is not going to relent.
Your colleague, Minister